Cool.
All right. Well, this is kind of an exciting call. Thank you for joining us the day before Thanksgiving. Yes, I know everybody's traveling and you have some fun plans, but we have some exciting things for you today. Three really exciting things, in fact. So the very first thing that I want to kind of introduce why we're having this call and our inspiration behind it was, you know that I'm always thinking of how can I help make your businesses easier? Those of you that are running an essential oil business, I know that there's a lot of foundations to set up, systems to put in place, and automation, branding. There's just so much to think about, and have come together and we have come up with an incredible solution for you that will make it so that you can do this without it taking years to develop. And it's neat because I've seen her do this for several clients already in doTERRA, and they are just over the moon raving about what she's done for them. And so I'm really excited for her to share her genius with us a little bit today. A little bit background on Rach. She lives in Australia, so you're gonna love listening to her talk today because I love her accent. And she is really the master, I think, with branding, and she has this really beautiful aesthetic that she weaves into everything that she does. And I know we've had branding calls before, but this one's going to be a little bit different. I would first, so we're first going to have Rach share some things with us, and then I want to share some other things, but I'll preview what those are in just a second. Some of you know that I've been using ManyChat, or I'm getting ready to start launching it for my business. And ManyChat is basically a bot system that integrates with Instagram and WhatsApp and other things. And I'm going to show you how to automate some of the things that you're already using, especially if you're already using texting things, into your DMs. So that's going to come afterwards. And I will also tell you a little about the Pinterest workshop that we're finally going live with, which is going to be so fun. So if you're taking notes, December 7, 10, 14, and 17th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And I'll give all that information after. But without further ado, I want Rach to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her. I just love her and I love what she does and what she's all about. So Rach, do you want to tell us a little about who you are and what you've been doing?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, everyone who's tuned in. Can everyone hear me well? Just double checking. Yeah, sweet, cool. So I am Rach, and probably for the next half an hour, you might hear my Australian accent, which Megan says. So if you can't understand what I'm saying or I'm speaking too fast, just shout out. But briefly, I started working with Megan probably maybe about a year ago, and she's brought me all the doTERRA ladies, which I love working with them. But one thing that was really noticeable to me was everyone was kind of doing the same thing. Everyone had like so many ideas, but there was sort of no strategy or like marketing plan behind it. And so when everyone was showing up online, they were showing up like in good ways, but with no strategy or, they didn't have any intentions behind what they were doing. And so they were getting to a point where they were quite stuck. So I'll give you a brief overview of my business, and then I'll sort of get into a bit of value, and then I'll talk about like a package of how I can help doTERRA leaders, and more particularly with helping people who are starting out and before they're bringing on a VA, so then they can bring on a VA with ease, and it's not havoc in your business, and it's like your work-life balance is like exactly how we want it to be.
And can I just speak on that for just a second too, Rach? I really want to make a point of what you just said, because all of you who are working with me, obviously I've helped you to find or train your virtual assistant. And while that's wonderful and your assistant is like your go-to right-hand person, I found that occasionally some people really need someone just to come in for a really brief couple of months to really help you quickly set up some foundations that then can be passed on to your VA, like the strategy. Because think of your VA as your master executor, the person who just keeps your business flowing. But if you don't already have that master plan in place, it's hard for them to know how to support you. And so you probably need to have that foundation set up before you weave them into it. And some of you have that already, and that's great. And others are like, well, I kind of have it, but not really. And others feel in total chaos still. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do today with Rach, is show you a way that we can help you to set up this foundation, and then she can show your assistant how to do that and weave them into it with a really solid strategy going forward, whether it's on social media or elsewhere. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's perfect. That's like exactly what it is, really. Like it's helping, bringing on your VA, because like sometimes when you have your business and it's, there's all the things going on, and then you bring your VA, and then your VA comes into all of the things that are going on, it's so overwhelming for your VA, and there's no structure. So what I'm trying to do is create that structure for you, so you understand what's going on, and then your VA can come in and go, okay, cool, there's something I can do, and it's easy. It's like everything's really streamlined. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. But yeah, I'll walk you through it. So my name's Rach, as you know, and from Australia. And my business is called Santosha Virtual. And what Santosha means in Indian Sanskrit is contentment. And it's a word that resonates with me so much. A girlfriend actually told me about it a few years ago. And I guess with my business, my passion and my direction is helping women find contentment in their business and finding contentment within their day-to-day life and their work-life balance. I think that's really important. And so that's kind of what I discovered with working with doTERRA leaders, whether they were new, like fresh, fresh in the field, or seasoned leaders, they were all kind of lacking that contentment. And so my goal is to bring strategies towards to them, so they can then have their contentment within their working week. So that's kind of like basically what Santosha is about. This is a new package that I've created recently, because there was a point where I was just like, there has to be something in place, because I was working with new VAs, and they're all amazing. I, still love them all. But that was one thing that was lacking, was, just like that implementation of strategy and organization.
Yeah. And I know a lot of my clients are very much like futuristic, not all of them, but many of them are very futuristic ideas people. And laying down that foundation, actually putting it into place and figuring out how to communicate to their VA what to do and how to have them make this system turn, rather than just delegating for the sake of delegating, but really delegating with intention, I think is what makes the biggest difference. And that's what I love about what you do, Rach, and what I've seen you do for some of these clients, where you come in and get them set up and then just pass them over, and it's just to their VA. It's just been amazing. In fact, one of your clients has told me, she said, once I started working with Rach, within a month, I felt like I was suddenly working, like I had I was like a real live business. Like I felt like I was so much more organized and I was stepping into the role of a true CEO, is what she told me. And I loved how quickly she just felt immediately taken care of. And so maybe let's, Rach, really quickly highlight the 4 different things that you do. I know that branding, social media, Wavoto, and ClickUp are like your 4 main things. Should we kind of break each one down a little bit and tell everybody why those tools and how you support them in those ways?
Absolutely. I'll keep the branding brief, because I know that Megan discussed that a little while ago. But basically, there is a branding package that I offer. Megan will sort you out with that if that's something you're interested in. But I just want to say that your brand, your personal brand, is who you are online, and it's how people perceive you when you're not there. I think if we quickly take a look at something that probably no one eats, is McDonald's. And McDonald's, their brand is so clear, like it's red and yellow worldwide. There is no mistaking what McDonald's is and what is involved in McDonald's. You know exactly what you're going to get. And that's kind of the same with a personal brand. With a personal brand, what I do is I delve into your business and what you're doing with your business, who you are, where you're going, and we formulate a brand that works for you. And especially in doTERRA, and it's so common that people use, platforms like OneDrop, which is amazing, and still use OneDrop, but they'll use that and they'll use those beautiful graphics, but they'll put that on their feed and it'll be the same as everyone else. And what I'm trying to establish with you guys, or with everyone who's, doing their brand, is to find a brand that works for you. Like lime green might work for someone and dark purple might work for someone else. Like a really minimal aesthetic might work for someone else. So finding that works for you, and not something that Or I think, I'm in wellness, I must choose green. Absolutely not. It could be lightning bolts and all the things. And so what speaks to you is going to speak to somebody else, and you'll be able to show up so much better online when you have your personal brand in place.
And
And so
I love that when you work with people, Rach, too, you're not telling them to not use OneDrop. What you're doing is you're using the OneDrop content and that's already there, and then rebranding it in a way, like just putting it on a background that fits their branding or something to that nature. So it looks and feels like them still, rather than being that cookie cutter that everybody else is using. And I love what you've done. Would you be willing to show us some of the things that you've created, whether they are branding mood boards or graphics, just so they can get a style, so they can really see, because I know your style, but I want them to really see all that you're capable of, and why you're my go-to lady for this, because you have such a beautiful aesthetic.
No worries. So I'll just jump in quickly, and I won't go for too long here, but I'll just show you. I just popped a few like grids in place, and this is just an example. So this is Carissa Cosentino when I first started working with her, and this is just something like you can see her brand is in place using her graphics. So this is her again. Then this is someone different. This is actually a fitness coach that I'm still doing a little bit of work with. This is Jen, who's more like into her lime green. This is like where we started in one grid. So this was the first thing after, her chat, and she was like, okay, lime green, popping, beautiful, all the things. And I was like, okay, cool. And this is where we ended up. So she's like, it's quite different to this, right? Like, those flowers is definitely so different to this, but this speaks to her. Okay, so this is her direction. And what I'm trying to do is really hone in on exactly what you do, so you can show up with the best intentions. It's exciting to get online rather than just pulling copy and just doing it because you have to. This is Quinn Curtis. I'm not sure if people know Quinn, but I was doing a bit of work for her. Again, so different. Like some is like quite blue, some is, green, just, basically looking at the colors, but you'll see the different feel. This is a copywriter, so someone totally different to doTERRA. And then these are, just some of the examples that I can share with you. And I mean, it's up to, it's your vision, it's your brand. And so I really want to really hone in on that and, make that aware that it's because I have like a particular aesthetic, it doesn't mean that I'm going to have that aesthetic for everybody else. Like everybody else is different. And I think that's really important to show up online as yourself, because then it's just so generic, like using that OneDrop, just like we said before, and turning that into your brand so you can use content and it's all there. Like you may as well use it, but just bringing your brand into it.
And the reason this is so powerful too is because without a doubt, whenever somebody comes to me and says, I want a virtual assistant, and then they say, but I also want them to build me a website and to manage my social media and build my branding, I'm like, wow, that's 4 different people. And so with what Rach is doing is that you're removing that pressure from your virtual assistant. Some of your VAs absolutely have the skill set and others don't. And I think when you work within people's strengths, they thrive and do their best. So if you have a VA that loves to do this, and that's great, but many of you don't. Like your VA learning and growing in this space, or maybe it's not an interest of theirs. And so you remove that overwhelm from them completely. And what Rach does is she helps you get set up with your branding and really hones in on what it is that you want, creating special templates just for you, and coming up with your mood board and everything. And then giving that strategy back to your VA so that then they can manage it going forward without the pressure of creating it on their own, if that makes sense. And that's why this is so powerful, and how it's kind of a duo system where we're bringing Rach in to support you and your VA at the same time. So tell me in the chat if that resonates at all, if that's something that you think would be really powerful for you and your business, or if you're a VA, if that would be helpful to you and your team. Okay, cool. Rach, any last thoughts on branding?
No. Branding's good. I'll move on to like how you're showing up as a strategy. Just like what Megan said, like without a brand, showing up is like, you can only get to one stage. Like finding a website, you need a brand to have a website, because it's, yeah. So I guess you get the drift, but that's like stage one, is getting that out of the way, and it will really make it crystal clear with where you're going in your business if you have that in place. So showing up with a strategy, pretty much, like I definitely did this. Actually, I still do it on my personal page. You go to someone's page, you have no idea what they're doing for starters. It's like children in one bit, cookies in another bit, doTERRA in another bit, going to a park in another bit. And it's like, okay. And then you find out that they're actually a leader, they're a diamond leader, and they bring people on all the time to help them get to that stage. Well, show that to your people. Like, make them know that. And so that's kind of like tying the brand in with your strategy. And that's really what I help you with, is doing that. Is like finding who you are and then how to show up online. Same with when you see like the bio, and this is, you know, something that I do on my personal, is people just like list the hobbies. I mean, amazing, but the hobbies are not helping your ideal client. So if you're exactly what you're doing, it's like, you know, for me is I help like doTERRA, or I help essential oil leaders, you know, find contentment within their business through branding, marketing strategies, and Movado support. And so it's very clear with what I do, who I help, and if it resonates with that person jumping into my page or to my website. It's making that crystal clear with what you do. And there's a few techniques and like tools that I use. I use ClickUp now, and actually only new. So I used to use Asana, and I use Notion and all the other platforms. And then Megan was like, hey, try ClickUp. And this is only 2 or 3 months ago. And I'm like, oh, ClickUp's amazing. Like, it's so good. ClickUp's really great. I will show you, I'll do another screen share, and I'll just kind of briefly show you a mock-up of kind of what I mean, so it's easy to understand.
And what she's going to show you is, so we've talked about branding, and now we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the ClickUp social media side, where she gets you into ClickUp and lays out the templates for you, lays out the process and the system. So it's very clear what's going to happen and when, and even like figuring out how you want to show up, like what is your messaging, like coming down to that specific, so that she actually, is it 2 or 3 months that you create like that plan with them?
So the first month, I'll talk you through it as I show you as well, but oh no, that's okay. The first month, what we do is we implement everything. And so I want to, you know, the first couple of weeks is like, we really hone in on who you are and what your business is doing. And so I basically get in your business and then establish a strategy and establish your, you know, if you have branding or not. If you don't have branding, then we'll move straight into it. But finding that strategy that works for you. And this is what I'm going to tell you, I guess, like when I show you, is more about like the content pillars and how to show up online. And so I'll jump in here and I'll just quickly talk. I'll just jump into this bit. So this is just like a really very basic mock-up that I did. But each day, like over a week, you'll have your content pillars. And I'm going to briefly explain this, but this is how to easily show up online. Once you figured out, you know, like your direction, and I help you and I support you and like establish that strategy. For example, like Monday might be mindset, and mindsets, it's quite versatile, but it can be such a great content pillar to use, because mindset, you can add that into a reel, you can get on live, you can have a quote, you can do anything with a mindset. And mindset really can to help like your ideal audience, really, like you're helping your ideal audience, I guess, with giving them mindset tips, if that's something that you're going towards. Most doTERRA like leaders, for example, are quite heavy on that, like helping other ladies or women understand like who they are. And so that mindset push is helping them on that journey, like everyone. Yeah, anyway. So that's mindset. And then like Tuesdays could be something about like education. You could promote your education for continued education classes, health or welcome calls or anything like that. And so you're structuring your week and your weeks with, say 7 or so content pillars that you're filtering through, but they're all coming together. And so what this looks like is you'll have here like the content pillars, which I just explained, but you'll see here, it's like an Instagram post or Facebook, or your captions and your caption and your hashtags and things like that will be in here alongside with like your image. And so everything's like really organized and it's in one place. And so creating content, you can create this calendar and you can do it all in one hit. You can drop anything in.
With hashtags, you help them with the hashtags, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So you can kind of have this database set up just to pass on to your VA or social media manager, whoever you're working with, and remove that strategy from them because you've already done the upfront legwork.
Yeah, like everything, like your content bank, your hashtags, creating a hashtag bank, all the things, like pretty much your entire business in a nutshell, how to show up online. This is what we implement. So then when your VA comes, everything's like there. And then your VA is what your VA is doing. Your VA is using these tools and continuing that on rather than starting these tools from scratch. And then you'll probably find that, oh, it took me 5 or 6 months to get the swing of things with my VA or longer. And what I'm trying to do is eradicate that is, within the first month, it's okay. It's sweet. It's like the first month you're getting to know each other rather than getting to know the very fundamentals of their business. Like that's already done. And so this is just like, a very simple mock-up example, but green, is published, purple would be in process, pink might be in need review. And so when the client is looking at this, I'll just look at the pink because all the rest is taken care of. And so you can tag people and collaborate within this. And so it's a really great platform to collaborate with your VA or with your client and speaking to each other and getting that content straight. And so with my clients I pretty much create content for an entire month. And then the rest of the month, once this is done and checked and scheduled and everything is all good, then we can hone in and focus on other things. And that's another thing that I was spending quite a lot of time with social media because that was like part of it. But it didn't have to take that long. It didn't have to take half of my hours every single week to plan social media when it is quite easy to put social media to like do a post for doTERRA. Like there's so much content. It's just like, how do you put that content up,
Mm-hmm. And ClickUp is free, by the way, for those that are looking at this, like, oh no, another tool. ClickUp is 100% free. There's like the free version that you can get pretty far with. I pay for it, but that's because I wanted some of these extra features that you probably don't even need in the beginning. And so you'll be totally fine with just the free version. And maybe can I share my screen really quick too? I want to show them my social media plan that looks very similar to yours, but I know that from the other ones that I've seen that you do, this is kind of the one I have set up and then what Rachel could help you set up as well. So like here's mine. So here's like the list view and then you can see the calendar view like she showed you. So there's different views. So we actually have everything on our IG feed planned throughout the rest of the year. And then we have stories and eventually I'm going to be putting some more reels and things like that in there, but we at least have our posts and you can see they're scheduled or like where they are. Is it a single post? Is it a carousel? Is it a quote? Like what kind of content is this? So it's very clear, like what's happening and is it scheduled? Do I need to review it? Once I've done reviewing it, then I usually click Megan done reviewing or caption whatever, just so that my team knows what to do with it going forward. And so type in the chat, that would just change your life if you had something set up like this for your social media that was just because I know it's overwhelming knowing how to show up and what to do and how to siphon how your message is and what you want to bring to the world. And that's exactly what Rach will do, is help you set that up and then just pass it over to your assistant to manage ongoing.
we're kind of playing like screen shed tag team.
I know.
One more time. Sorry. Okay, so I'm done with that, but I'll show you. This is similar to what Megan does, and really it's up to you. So like creating these things, if it's like, you know, Megan's, or if it's like the way I do it or anything like that, when your VA comes along and if it's not working for them, it's so easy to change it. It's so easy to change it of like how it works for your client. But as like with the content pillars, this is kind of a hashtag bank. And so you would add, you can do exactly what Megan's done as well, like really planning like that in the list view. You can use, like, there's multiple different views that you can use, but I like using the hashtag bank as well. And down the bottom, like usually will be your hashtag bank too. But pretty much the reason why I like creating a hashtag bank is because then you can repurpose your content. And so someone will read a caption and it might resonate and it might grab heaps of likes or followers or anything like that. And then in 3 months' time, you can literally post the same thing, maybe with a different graphic or image as the cover, maybe change the words a little bit, but really utilizing your content that you've already got, because it's your business. You don't need to show up with fresh content every single time. So this is like, you know, implementing storage for that, rather than going back to Instagram and it's like, oh, which post was great? And then copying and pasting it and doing it the long way. Like what we're trying to do is really create that perfect work-life balance where you're not stuck in social media the whole time. You can have that as a portion of your business and then work on the things that matter most in your business.
I love that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'll just quickly show you this as well. Again, mock up. So it's like, it can look so much better than this. But this is basically how I collaborate with my clients. And it's just a big to-do list. And you can do it however you want. But I have here is like to-do and priorities, what's in progress. You could have folders here for each particular client or VA, reoccurring weekly. And then you can go inside these tasks and have like subtasks. So you're using this as kind of a cover. So it might be like content creation, reoccurring weekly. And then you go into content creation and then there's the tasks.
And so can I interject on one thing here too? I've heard so many of my clients say that they know they want to use a project management system, but they themselves had struggled implementing it and knowing how to use it effectively and setting up their master plan and making sure that they have their tasks figured out, their team has their tasks figured out, and that they have a cohesive system going forward. And this solves that problem. And you've probably heard me say before that if you are not using a project management system, you're setting yourself up to fail. Like at this point in your business, if you have a virtual assistant, you must be using a project management system. The end. like that's. And I'm just going to say it super harsh like that, because so many of my clients, some of my clients are very much like, well, I'm not very techie and I don't really like to, it's a new system and I don't really want to do that. I don't even care. Like, you need to use a project management system, because the people who don't are consistently the ones who struggle, not just with their assistant, but with their business, because you don't have a plan. You're, the quintessential quote of, if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. And that's sort of why I'm bringing Rach in, is because I want you to have a system that's clearly set up that will work with your team, and that you can launch you forward, and then it's super crystal clear. Maybe you're planning out like the next quarter, what are you trying to achieve, what are the big deliverables you're going to do, let's map it out, and what needs to occur to make that big thing happen, and dissecting it a little bit and kind of organizing that system. So sorry, I just wanted to jump in really quick and say this is why this is so important.
It's super important. She shall not be named, but a client is every single platform you can think of is how we were communicating for a while, Facebook, Instagram, Voxer, WhatsApp, like the whole lot, even private message on your normal phone, and it's like, okay, let's use a platform, like actually let's put our work in here. And now it's so easy. And after a while, it's like, oh, just send you this to Instagram. And I'm like, no worries. I'll drop it in our platform.
Yeah.
And making that system, and now we use it, and now it's great. And it's just so important, because then you can come to the start of your week, or you can plan the next week. You can drop like brain dump ideas in there. You can do it, on your phone, like via your app. So everything's like, it's so easy to do it like that, rather than getting confused of like where that task was, trying to find out, just where it was. Like,
And imagine being the virtual
yeah,
assistant where every task you delegate is through an email or through text messages. So they get buried and buried and buried. So when they're actually ready to clock in and start working on that thing, they're like, okay, I'm going to scroll through my big feed of all of our messages where we're talking about this thing until I find the thing. And they spend 30 minutes just trying to find your instructions until they get there,
yeah,
so they can actually start working on it. Like, let's just remove that time block completely and just put it on your project management tool, and all the details are there. And when you're doing your weekly calls together, you should absolutely, all of you, have your Trello, ClickUp, whatever it is you're using, pulled up. In fact, that's how my team and I operate. We all have our ClickUp pulled up, and whenever I delegate something, I say, Jamie, can you go put this on your task list? Carol, can you go put this on your task list? And I'll even say, oh, you, there's something I need to do. Carol, can you go put that on my task list, or whatever? That way, so I have my list too. I have things that I need to do. And this helps you really to stay organized and to know what's coming, know what's been delegated, make sure that you don't have too many projects, because especially my visionaries, I love you so much. I'm a visionary too, but you're like me, we're in the shower or in the car, you have a gazillion ideas, all the things you want to do. And so you start 10 projects, but finish 2. And so that makes it really hard for your assistant to know how to support you, because you feel like you're constantly doing and doing and doing, but you're not getting anything done. And so that's why this kind of a system is so important to have set up, so that you can see like, what are the big things we're going to create, and let's commit to them, and let's make a plan to make them happen. We're not bringing any other things. So like, you've heard me talk about macros and micros before. The macro is like, okay, we want to launch an oil study next month. So what do we need to do every week leading up to that date in order for that oil study to come off successfully? But what ends up happening is you say, I want to do an oil study next month, and I want to launch my website, and I want to launch this new other program. And so you're supposed to only have one major macro every month, maybe 1 to 3, depending on the size of that macro. And too many people are bringing on like 5 to 10 macros in 1 month. And so you're not getting anything accomplished. And so you need to focus, and in the tighter you focus, the more you'll get accomplished. And that's why, again, I keep bringing Rachel in, because she knows how to set up this process for you. And I want you to have this foundation so that your assistant can actually just churn out things for you and get stuff done, because they are so good at being your hands-on doer, the one that really helps you to now implement this thing. But let's get the foundation set up first, right? Okay, sorry, that was my big tangent. Go ahead.
No, it's good. And I think like, if you know what's going on in your business, I really believe that every business owner should know everything about their business. There's so many business owners. I have VA for that, I have that person for that, I have this person for that. But if you know what's going on in your business, it's even though it might feel like, oh, that's too much for me, and that's too much to handle, that's why I delegate. Absolutely. But delegating in the right ways. And it's like utilizing your time, which is going to save you money in the long run. If you can see the bigger picture and then delegate, or have someone to delegate for you, but you're just seeing the bigger picture, the clarity in your business will be like significant. It's like, just knowing what's going on in your business, I think, is so important.
And to that, everybody's had that moment where you've worked in a corporate job, or, whatever, and the higher ups, the CEO and all those different people, how many times have you thought, they keep making all these rules in the business or delegating things down the pipeline, but they haven't actually spoken to us about what we're doing. And so we feel like they don't understand all that we're doing, or we're getting in trouble for things that aren't happening, but they don't see all that's really occurring. And so you don't want to be that leader. You don't want to be that person who is delegating without understanding the full scope of things, and then hindering the progress of your team because you aren't informed. And so I think setting up this process is why this is so important and crucial. And I'm seeing a lot of people talking like, this will help me and my clients so much, like this would be amazing. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay, any last thoughts on that, Rach?
No, I'll briefly, well, I'll just like hone in, I guess, and finish up with what the package includes, and yeah, more about that. But so over a 2-month period, we introduce ourselves. We get to know each other by like our first strategy call, and we spend an hour in that call to get to know each other, to get to know your business, to get to know your vision and your goals and things like that. Also, prior to that, like I will get you to fill out a questionnaire, and a questionnaire is whether you have a brand or not. It was still based around that brand, so I can understand what your business is about, because as we probably already know here, that I really believe your brand is your business, right? So honing in on that and doing like that strategy call. And then once we've done that strategy call, then over a 2-month period, but the first month we will implement all of these systems. And so what I will do is I'll get your brand, whether it's created or not, or by then it will be, is putting all of your social media in templates. And so when you're posting reels, stories, posts, anything to do with social media, email banners, Facebook covers, like the whole works, I create templates for you that you can, with your brand in there. So then you can drop your content and your titles or your pictures or anything like that. You can drop that in there quickly and easily. And then you can post that online. Same with your VA. Your VA can come in and use these templates as an example of your brand and use those templates. She or he is more than, welcome to duplicate that and redesign some of those things, throughout time or whenever, but you're using those templates. So you're not recreating fresh, brand new graphics every single time. You're using your brand, and so it stays consistent the whole time. So that's that's kind of like where we start, is we get that all, set up in the back burner, I suppose, or not the back burner, but behind the scenes. It's like pushing away. And then, setting up your ClickUp, like just what we've been speaking about, but all your marketing. So we put all of your content, like past content that you want to use again, into those content banks. We create a hashtag strategy. We create a hashtag bank that you can then, every 3 months, then do the hashtag research that your VA might do, and then just add to it or refresh it. Everything is implemented over 2 months. So like your marketing calendar, you'll have content for 2 months, and you'll have like a really clear-cut vision of where your business is going, all the things that are happening in your business, like all the things you're offering, like those continued education classes, like those Zoom calls for health and income, and all the things that are happening in your business will be implemented through that marketing platform, through that calendar, and also through the to-do list. And so creating that task manager. So basically, after our strategy calls, everything will be in one spot. And to get the pro version, I will just add, is only $5 a month as well. So it's really not that much. And there will be a stage where you might want to use them. Obviously, pro means more features and things like that, but you can use these like little categories, and that's like really labeling every single thing in your business. I personally like it. I think $5 is definitely affordable with something that is literally your second Bible. So yeah, establishing that, creating like all of like your marketing strategy and things like that. Then after the first month, everything should be implemented, everything should be created. Then what we do is, if you are bringing on a VA or your current VA, then we can start to work together. So the first month, I'm kind of working behind the scenes and with you and getting everything ready. Then the beginning of the second month, I work with the VA, and I'm showing her everything. While I'm doing this as well, I'm doing tutorials. And so in this ClickUp, there will be a folder full of tutorials. So tutorials, how to post your content, if you're using Wivado, how to post a newsletter and things like that. So if your virtual assistant shoots off for the weekend and you're stuck with, sending a newsletter out or something like that, there's an easy spot to find a tutorial of how to do the exact process. So these are the things that I really help you with, so you're understanding exactly what your business is, so you have a really clear vision of like where the whole thing. So with that as well, I won't go too much into it, but included in this package is a lead tracker, and most doTERRA people have something similar, and it's just a platform. It's not a platform as such, it's just, I can implement that in ClickUp, but it's a way to record your ideal clients. And so it's a way to show up online and trying to get in front of your ideal clients, so you're getting new prospects all the time. So there's, we can't just do all of these things and have no strategy with getting people, right? So that's like part of the strategy. It's not just making your business look pretty, it's giving you the tools and the experience and the advice of how to get those people in. So that's what happens with our strategy calls. So obviously it's over it's just me and you. So it's, it's customized to any person. We can chat about whatever you want with the same goal in mind, with your business in mind.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How many people can you take on each month? Because I know already there are people who are messaging me like, oh my gosh, I totally want this. And I want to make sure that we, obviously first come, first serve. And so if you can only do like two additional clients per month, or this month, and then, after you finish those clients, then the new ones can come on board. I just want to give them an expectation on how long they might be waiting if you can only work with a few people each month.
Yeah, I can take on at the moment another three to four. I've actually got a brand manager with me, so that's good. I thought, okay, this is something that I'm going to need help with, just like everyone else needs help with their VA. I've done that too. So I have a graphic designer that's working with me. So yeah, she'll be doing all of the design stuff, which frees up most of my time. Like a lot of my time, and then I check her work and, do things like that. So 3 to 4 I can take, pretty much straight away. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. One more thing that I do include here is a daily schedule. And even though you're using ClickUp, you might be interested in using a bit of paper as well. So that's kind of included in there. You'll see what that looks like, but it's basically really quick story behind that. When I first started, I had a gigantic list, and I'm sure many people can resonate with that. Just this huge list, and it was overwhelming. And when you have too much things on the go, you don't do anything. You can think of anything else, like I'm going to clean the house, I'm going to go to the beach, or anything like that. But if you're implementing your to-do list throughout the week and you're keeping it you're looking at Monday and keeping it achievable, you'll feel so much more in power with doing that, rather than getting overwhelmed. So my goal is to bring contentment into your business by putting these strategies together. So over a 2-month period, that's pretty much what happens. I think there's 3 to 4 strategy calls included with your VA as well towards the end. And so you can walk away after the 2 months, with clarity and contentment.
That's awesome. So what we'll do is we're going to send out an email with all the information for those of you that want to know how to get started with Rach, including her package pricing and the form to fill out and everything. And it sounds like she can only take on 3 or 4 this first month. So if you want to work with her between now and January, then you'll want to be one of those first 3 or 4. And then after the new year, then she can bring on the next group of people. But if that's something that you want to start the new year off ready with your foundation and set in place, what a great new year, goal, New Year's resolution to start off right. So that's awesome. And additionally, we won't jump into this one because I know not everybody's using Wivado, but Rach is also very, very savvy with Wovoto and can make it look beautiful for you, get the whole thing set up, like your not just the front end, but also the back end with your forms, your autoresponders, your courses, you know, the membership, the whole thing. And so if there are things that if that's something that you also need help with, we'll make sure that we send that information as well. So are there any last questions or comments? Go ahead and type them in the chat. If you have anything that we want to talk with Rach about, and if not, thank you so much, Rach. This was amazing. Tell us in the comments if you thought this was super helpful and you feel like this could support where you're going, whether you're a virtual assistant or whether you are one of my clients looking for support. Thank you so much, Rach. We just think you're amazing and love all that you're doing and have really honed in on this great need that I think people have. So we really appreciate you sharing your genius with us.
Like, thank you. Like everyone, I think when something just comes to you, you're like, that's what I have to do. I'll just drop everything else and that's my path. So this is my path. And I really believe that like everyone needs it. It's not just doTERRA women, but that's kind of like the niche that I fell into because I love working with these people. And yeah, I mean, like this can be implemented on any business, really. It really can. But yeah, so that's it really. But thanks heaps for listening, everyone. And thank you so much, Megan, for bringing me on.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and it's neat because all the different things that and the other things I'm going to really quickly tell you about too. You know that I love like doTERRA and essential oil leaders and all that you're doing. Your mission means a lot to me, and so I'm always trying to think of ways that I can help support you and having this massive impact on the world. And many of you are doing, you know, essential oils, maybe business coaching or life coaching, or you're empowering people beyond just health. But I feel like health is the foundation of everything they're doing. And so I love your mission. And I'm constantly, like in the shower, I really do constantly brainstorm things that I can bring to support you. And so this is one of those things. And these two other things that I wanted to show you as well, just really, really briefly, I'm not going to take very much time. But ManyChat, I know that many of you have been hearing me talk about ManyChat, and this is a really good segue into all we've been talking about with Rach. But ManyChat, if you don't know, is an Autobot system that you can, very much like if you're using Project Broadcast or Shout or Rally, whatever texting platform you're using, that same content that you're already delivering can be used in WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram Messenger. And so if you're already sending out that same content, why not have it available on all the other platforms you're using as well? So imagine this for a second. If you're on Instagram and you're talking about mind and mood, you're going live on mind and mood, and we would, and you're talking about how all the benefits of essential oils can do to enhance those things. So you might say, DM me the word mood, and you'll get my best tips with this for mind and mood. And then all the same content that you're sending out with ECC or your own scripts can be automated also in the DMs. And we have already set up that process for you as well. So I just wanted to give you a really quick sneak peek into what that looks like. But this is one of the ways that you can even further support your team and your customers so that they can really support, you can really support them, I mean. And though if you're familiar with Instagram, you know that your feed is the gateway in where people can decide if they resonate with what you do or not. They need to instantly see, what does this person do and how does it benefit me? It's a very one-sided thing when they first see your page. It's not like, oh, she's a mom, she has 3 dogs. They don't care. They don't want to see that. They want to know what you do and how it impacts them. And that will help them decide if they want to follow you and engage with your content. If they do, you've opened the door and now they're following you. And now your stories is where you can build that relationship. And then once they're in your stories, then you can lead them to the DMs. And the DMs is where you start to really build that relationship even deeper, and where the sale can happen, or where you can lead them to enrollment or lead them to whatever. And so that's where this ManyChat comes in. If you're already using like the ECC content or sending out your own text messages through whatever texting platform you prefer, let's just duplicate it over and put it in ManyChat so that you can set everything up. So I want to show you this really quick. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you see my sequence over here, my ManyChat? Good, okay. So this is basically, I know it's super hard to tell, but this is an example of all the ECC content. Buddy, whoa, hang on, buddy. Yes, you can. We're obviously home for Thanksgiving. Okay, so here's like an ECC process that's already in ManyChat, and you can see exactly what happens when, but it's the exact same thing you're already sending out. It's like, yay, you're here, and it sends each message with the images and everything already. And so if that's something that you are doing anyway, why not have it available on cross platforms? And so my team and I, we are actually gearing up to help you to do this, rather than having to like get all the content added and everything. If this is something that you personally would find helpful, that it's already done and ready for you, whether you have your own scripts or you have ECC, whatever you want, we can help you to automate it in your ManyChat, and we'll send out some more information as well. Comment in the chat below if that's something that you would find valuable, to have people DM you and to get all of the content that you're giving out anyway. Or if you're in Facebook, you can even in your groups or your pages say DM me the word class, and they'll get your one-on-one essential oil class. That would be amazing, right? So we'll send out all that information so that you have the information. One person just said, have you used Shout? Curious how that would compare to ManyChat. So Shout is a texting app, whereas ManyChat works in it's more of like an automation for your DMs, for a Facebook DM, your Instagram DM, or WhatsApp. And those are the platforms that they can automate those messages on. So it's getting people into your instant messaging, whereas Shout works a lot like Project Broadcast or Rally, those kinds of things. But I do know that Shout has two different numbers. You have like your marketing number and your personal number. So you would have the initial message go out that says, hey, we're doing a mind and mood class. Text back the word mood if you want that class. And then they DM or they message you the word mood, and they suddenly get all those messages from you. But the initial message comes from your marketing number, and then the rest, I believe, comes from your personal number or something to that nature. I haven't used it too much, but I know that a lot of doTERRA people are migrating over to Shout. And I personally don't know all that there is to know about it, but I do know that it's a huge wave that people are doing right now, because Rally didn't seem to really work out too well. A lot of people are staying in Project Broadcast. I think that's lovely. You just find the tool that works for you. But the difference is that one is for texting and one is for your like social media DMs. And so she says, okay, my client actually found a way to use Shout with IG and Facebook. Oh, that's cool. Well, I didn't know that. Yeah, and we'll send out all the ways to connect with all of these different things, ManyChat and Rage and everything in the email. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. We are also launching a Pinterest workshop, and we're so excited. So many of you know that I've been using Pinterest for the last year, and I've seen some incredible things from it. I felt like we've been really active on Instagram, but we've also been taking that exact same content and just dropping it on Pinterest and just kind of resizing the images and everything and pushing out our blog posts there. And I'm seeing that I'm getting 4 times the engagement and views from Pinterest than I am on Instagram. Both are great. I'm not saying choose one or the other, but what I am saying is if you want to be on one of these search engines, which Pinterest, YouTube, and Google, those are search engines, and Pinterest is where a lot of people go to say, essential oils for emotions or whatever, and then you want your stuff to pop up. And so I'm going to be showing you how to get in front of your audience when they actually search the things that you are offering in Pinterest. And so we're starting that December 7th, 10th, 14th, and 17th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, and 1 Eastern. And there will be live calls like this where we can actually interact. And I'll bring on my branding expert, my Pinterest expert, who's been helping me get mine going. And it requires far less energy than I've had to do on Instagram, because that lives longer. Your content lives much longer on Pinterest than it does on your other platforms, because it circulates. Rather than kind of being a static post that kind of lasts maybe a few days or a few hours. But on Pinterest, it lasts for several weeks and months even. And so there are things that I haven't been posting. I have all these different blog posts like in the pipeline that I've been wanting to publish. But even though I haven't posted anything recently, I'm still getting all these people coming to my website from Pinterest because they are seeing previous blog posts or previous things that I've been doing. And so here are the dates again, because Carlisle just asked too. December 7th, December 10th, December 14th, and December 17th. And again, all of this will be sent to you in an email so that you'll have everything you need to register and get going. And the Pinterest workshop, I've been toying around We are going to do it for free. And the only way that you'll be charged is if you want forever access to the recordings, and that's just $27. But the recordings will be available until the 19th at midnight. So you have about 2 weeks to kind of watch all the recordings. And then if you want to purchase them so that you can watch them later, it's only $27. But if you feel like you can watch them all in those 2 weeks, that's awesome. We've given you a full 2 weeks just to watch the recordings and to join. And so this is really great, even for you as social media or assistants or social media managers who want to now make this an offering of yours and to support clients using Pinterest. So we'll teach you all about the strategies, everything from the blogging, from the strategy to the branding and the actual implementation of it. And you'll walk away. It's not going to be one of these workshops where we tell you all these things and you come away with great ideas. You're going to come and get stuff done in those 2 weeks. That's why we didn't make it a back-to-back once a day for the next 4 days call. We actually gave you several days in between, and we're going to be doing things in real live action to get things done, so that you should walk away with a good chunk of it already done within those 2 weeks, which is really awesome. You and your assistants can join in everything. So is that helpful? Who's interested in the Pinterest workshop? Would that be helpful to you? Do you feel like getting in front of your target audience and having them search the keywords that you're wanting to share will be helpful to you in your business, having people just organically get to your website? Right now, I think I have an average of like 1,000 views on Instagram, but on Pinterest, I have like 4,000 impressions every month where they're actually going to my website. And that's been really amazing because I feel like it's getting me in front of the right people. And so as I increase my offerings and things, I think it's really been really awesome. One of the most cost-effective tools that I've used so far to get in front of my audience. Oh, good. I'm excited. So many of you are excited. I'm seeing lots of things in the chat that people are just really tickled about that. For those that are on Facebook, we're over here on Zoom, and the chat is exploding with great things. Okay, so that's it. Oh, look, we kept just under an hour, so we're so great. I want to open it up to questions really quickly. What things can I do to help you? Any questions that you have that I can support you with the last 3 minutes that we have? I think somebody did mention something about shout above. Amanda, you said you were going to look into it. Are you going to have access to the Pinterest class outside of 3 months? Okay, I think we answered all those questions. The workshop is for free. Like I said, the Pinterest workshop is free for those 2 weeks. The only way you would ever have to pay for it is if you wanted forever access beyond those 2 weeks to the recordings. And so those 2 weeks, since it goes from the 7th through the 17th, on midnight on the 19th, all the calls will expire. But if you would wish to purchase those recordings, then you can for $27. So yeah, great question. All right. Any other things I can do to support you? I'm so excited for all you're doing. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much, Rach, for joining us and sharing your genius with us. We'll send you all the things that we talked about in an email. And if you are watching this on Facebook and want the information as well, please email my team at support@meganlloyd.org. That's support@meganlloyd.org. And we'll make sure that you get these things as well. So happy Thanksgiving, and we will talk to you all soon. Thanks, everybody.